You must marry the hunter, and you have no choice.
The decision was made before the drums finished sounding. The hunter will protect us, the chief said.
A bride will be sent.
A breath passed through the crowd. Sharp, relieved, cruel. I searched for beauty and turned away from it. When they landed on Zuri, they stopped. She did not cry. Zuri stepped forward on her own. I will go, she said, surprising even herself. But not as a gift thrown away. If I am to be his wife, then I will be treated as one. Murmurs rose. A woman demanded dignity on the day she was surrendered. The chief nodded, uneasy but desperate. As Zuri walked home to gather nothing but courage, she remembered the one time she had seen the hunter years ago from a distance. He had carried an injured child from the forest, his face hidden, his hands gentle. That memory steadied her steps. At dusk, she crossed the boundary no woman crossed willingly. The hunter stood waiting, as if he had known she would come. For the first time, Zuri wondered if the village had sent the wrong person to be afraid. Zuri had the door before she saw it move. It opened slowly, not as a threat, but as a question. The hunter stepped aside and said nothing. His face bore the marks the village feared. But his eyes held no hunger for harm. He waited, giving her the choice to enter or turn back. Zuri stepped in. The house smelled of wood smoke and clean water. No bones. No weapons on the floor. Only a small fire and a bed laid carefully near it, as if prepared long before this night. The door closed behind her with a soft sound that settled the air. You are not afraid, he said at last. I am, Zuri replied. I just came anyway. Something shifted in his expression, not surprise, but relief. He handed her a bowl. Eat first. She studied him as she ate. His movements were slow, careful, as though he had learned not to startle people. When the fire snapped, he flinched before she did. They said you would scream, Zuri said quietly. He shook his head. I do not raise my voice. Silence returned, but it was no longer heavy. It felt washed over. I will sleep outside, he said. The bed is yours. Zuri stood. No, she said. If I am to stay, I will not be hidden like fear. He met her gaze, surprised again. Then he nodded once. That night, they sat on the opposite side of the fire awake. Words were few, but something else passed between them. An understanding formed not from beauty or pity, but from two people who knew what it meant to be avoided. When sleep finally came, it arrived without fear. And in the quiet, the hunter realized this woman had crossed more than the forest to reach him. The scream came before dawn. Zuri was on her feet before fear could reach her throat. Outside, the hunter was already moving, barefoot on hard earth, blade in hand, not rushing, not shouting, calm and certain. Stay, he said. She followed anyway. At the edge of the trees, a snake shook violently. A young boy lay tangled in the rope, blood on his ankle, panic widening his eyes. Beyond him, the brush cracked again. Something large circled. The hunter stepped forward, placing himself between the sound and the child. He did not lift his weapon. He whistled low, steady. The movement in the bushes slowed, then faded. Silence returned, broken only by the boy's sobs. Zuri knelt, hands firm as she freed the rope. The hunter tore his clothes, tied the wound, and lifted the boy with care that contradicted every story told about him. Why help me? The child whispered. The hunter answered without looking at him. Because you were trapped. They walked until the forest thinned. When the boy was safe, the hunter turned back without waiting for thanks. On the path home, Zuri spoke. You could have let them fear you. They already do, he said. Fear is easy. Choice is harder. At the house, Zuri watched him clean the blade he had never used. Her chest tightened, not with dread, but with something unfamiliar. You are not what they say, she told him. He paused. Neither are you. For the first time, Zuri smiled at him, not in courage, not in pity, but in recognition. And far away, the village slept, unaware that the story they believed had already begun to change. The villagers heard the footsteps before they saw them. Zuri entered the square with her chin high. The hunter stayed a few steps behind her, hands open. Whispers broke out like sparks on dry ground. Some crossed themselves. Others reached for children and pulled them close. She is alive. Someone breathed. The chief rose slowly. Why are you here? Zuri answered before the hunter could speak. He brought back a child this morning. A boy stepped forward, limping but smiling. His mother fell to her knees, clutching him, sobbing thanks that no one expected the hunter to accept. I owe him my son, she said. Silence spread. Not yet respect, but confusion. The chief cleared his throat. The agreement stands. Protection was promised. The hunter nodded once. It will be kept. A murmur rolled through the crowd. Fear loosened, replaced by doubts. Stories began to crack. A gate threw a stone. It struck the hunter's shoulder. He did not turn. Zuri stepped in front of him. Enough! Her voice cut deeper than the stone. People stared. A woman standing where terror was expected. He had done no wrong, Zuri said. You fear what you refuse to know. No one answered. The chief gestured sharply. Go, before night. As they walked away, insults followed them like dust. Zuri did not slow. She felt the hunter's presence, steady behind her. At the forest edge, he stopped. You should not have done that. I chose to, she said, just as I chose to come. He studied her. Something warm, breaking through his guarded face. Then walk beside me. Zuri did. Behind them, the village watched two figures live together, and for the first time wondered if they had misjudged both. A knock struck the door, hard enough to shake the frame. The hunter reached it first. Alert, controlled. Zuri caught his arm. Let me see. Outside stood 3 men from the village, breathless, eyes wild. The traps failed, one said. Something big is moving near the farms. The hunter did not hesitate. He grabbed his spear and stepped into the dark. Zuri followed. Moonlight spilled over broken fences and crushed crops. A wounded animal burst from the grass, dragging a snail behind it. Pain driving it mad. Children cried from a nearby hut. The hunter moved fast, placing himself between the creature and the homes. He shouted, not in anger, but command. The sound cut through panic. The animal turned, confused, then fled into the night. No blood spilled. No victory shouts followed. Only breath returning to the frightened chests. The men stared at him. You saved us, one said, shaking. The hunter nodded, already turning away. As they walked back, Zuri's hand brushed his. This time, neither pulled away. Inside the house, the tension lingered like heat. Zuri spoke softly. You could leave. They would understand now. He shook his head. I protect what I choose. And what is that? She asked. He met her eyes. This. The word settled between them. Not a promise. Not a calm. A truth spoken carefully. Zuri felt something open in her chest. Slow and sure. Then we should choose together. He smiled. Just silently. But it changed his face more than Scar ever had. Outside, the forest quieted. Inside, 2 lives aligned without fear, without force. That night, the walls people had built around the hunter finally fell, not because he was proven strong, but because he was no longer alone. The fire went out suddenly. Zuri sat up at once. The hunter was already awake. He listened, still as stone. From the forest came hurried footsteps, many this time. They followed us, Zuri whispered. The door burst open. The chief and several men stormed in, faces tight with anger and fear. The farm are safe now, the chief said. You've done enough. The woman returns tonight. The hunter stepped forward. No. The single was struck harder than a shout. She was never yours to keep, the chief snapped. The bargain is done. Zuri moved beside the hunter, her voice clear. I'm not an offering you can collect. Gaps filled the room. No woman had ever spoken to the chief like that. You would choose him? The chief asked. Look at him. I am, Zuri said. And I see him. The men raised their sticks. The hunter spread his arms slightly, not to attack, but to shield her. Zuri felt the meaning of it settle deep inside her chest. This ends now, the hunter said. If you force her, I walk away. No more guards, No more forest paths cleared. Silence crashed down. The chief weighed hunger against pride. At last, he lowered his hand. If the village suffers, it is on you. So be it, the hunter replied. The men left, retreating to the dark they once feared. Zuri let out the breath she had been holding. Her hands trembled. The hunter noticed and gently covered them with his own. You didn't have to stay, he said. I wanted to, she answered. For the first time, he touched her face, not claiming, not afraid, just present. Outside, the forest stood quiet. Inside, love had crossed its final line, no longer hidden, no longer waiting to be named. Their horn sounded before sunrise. Not a warning this time, an alarm. Zuri grabbed her wrap as the hunter reached for his spear. Smoke rose beyond the trees, thin but fast. They are burning the old fields, Zuri said. The hunter's jaw tightened. It started before me. They ran. At the edge of the clearing, flames crawled across dry ground. Men from the neighboring clan shouted, driving stolen cattle toward the forest. The hunter stepped forward, voice steady but loud. Turn back. Laughter answered him. One man recognized him as Pat. You still live like an animal. The hunter did not strike. He planted his spear in the soil. Take the cattle and go. An arrow flew. Zuri screamed, I am the ready writer, and every story hides a truth.